Piece of retirement advice going viral this week that could quietly wreck the next 20 years of your life. And if you're married, it could wreck the 20 years after that too. You've probably seen it. Money.com ran it Sunday. Yahoo, MoneyWise, every outlet with the same headline: retirees have been underspending. You can safely spend 20% more. Sounds like good news, right? Here's the problem. The advice only holds if two things stay true: your health and both of you. Nobody in the headlines is telling you what happens when either one of those changes. Stay with me here, because your plan almost certainly wasn't built for the day it becomes a one person. Now listen, I'm not here to alarm you, but what good is advice if it isn't honest with you? If you've been reading those headlines and thinking, fine, permission to enjoy this, I understand why. You spent 30 or 40 years saving. You built real wealth. Most people never get there. You earned the right to enjoy it. But I'm going to tell you this from someone who watched a two-person plan turn into a one-person plan in real time. Years ago, I navigated my wife through terminal cancer. Everything shifted at once. The income, the taxes, healthcare, decisions I had hours to make, and not months. That's why I tend to read this new research differently than most people. Let me tell you what the headlines are missing. Actually, two things. The research everyone's citing comes from David Blanchett, respected researcher. He just published new work on how retirement spending changes over time. His finding: for most retirees, spending doesn't rise at the end. It drifts down and stays down. So the math says you can spend about 20% more in early retirement. The headline celebrated that. Here's what got cut. Blanchett wrote, direct quote, that healthcare is a clear wild card with significant idiosyncratic risk. Now, academic language for a simple truth. Some families get hit, some don't, and nobody can tell you in advance which one will be. That's the first wild card. And it's the one Blanchett named. There's a second one that he didn't quantify because it wasn't what his paper was about. It's the day your retirement stops being a two-person plan. Now, that's not a wild card. That is a certainty. One of you will outlive the other. That's not speculation. It's math. And the plan you built together doesn't lose one person's expenses. It loses one person's income. Here's what almost nobody tells you about that day. Your household loses one Social Security check, not the smaller one added to the bigger one. The smaller one is gone, permanent. Your surviving spouse files single the next year. Their tax brackets get cut roughly in half. The standard deduction gets cut roughly in half. IRMAA, the income level where Medicare premiums start jumping, threshold gets cut roughly in half as well. So your survivor can end up paying higher tax rates on lower income. How does that make sense? And possibly higher Medicare premiums on top of that. Meanwhile, your mortgage is the same. Property tax, utilities, they barely move. Homeowners insurance, the same. Car insurance, the same. Here's the number most plans don't stress test. Your survivor typically needs roughly 70% of your prior spending, but usually there's a gap that you'll need to cover. Sit with that gap for a minute, because that's the gap most plans never, ever test for. I know that's a lot. Take it in. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to prepare you. Here's what I want you to do at your kitchen table this week. I call it the one-person test. 3 questions, answer honestly, not the answer that you want, the answer that's actually in your plan. Question 1, what's your household's monthly income the day after one of you is gone? Do you know that number? Or have you never done that math? Yes or no? Question 2, what tax rate does your surviving spouse pay on that income? Filing single, tighter brackets, smaller deduction, lower IRMAA threshold. Does your plan account for all of that? Yes or no? Question 3, which expenses actually disappear when one of you is gone? Not the ones that you assume, the ones that actually leave the budget. Housing stays, utilities barely move, property taxes are the same, if not going up. Healthcare can't even go up because there's no spouse to help care at home. So the honest answer for most households is not very many. Yes or no. If any of those questions stopped you cold, your plan works for 2 of you, not 1. And here's the part your advisor probably didn't tell you. Most plans in this country are built for the joint scenario because that's what people ask about. The one-person scenario is where planning gets hard. So it's where planning gets skipped. This is why step 4 of my life-tested retirement system is called life season mapping. It's not one plan for retirement. It's a plan that runs both scenarios at the same time while you're both here and after. Let me tell you what that looks like in practice. A gentleman I've been meeting with recently, 61 years old, he's sharp, successful. His biggest concern wasn't the returns, it was income. So I asked him, what income would your wife have if you weren't here? He stopped. Never done the math. His previous plan hadn't done it either. Another household I worked with, and I'll share this as an example since every family situation is different. One spouse had a government pension, great income for them, until the day it stopped. Because the election they made at retirement decades earlier gave them a high check while both were alive, and nothing when one of them was gone. Now that decision was irrevocable, made once, locked forever. So we've restructured it. Now the income exists for both scenarios, while they're together and after. Here's what I learned the hard way with my wife. When her diagnosis came, I didn't have days to reorganize the plan. I really had hours. The architecture had to already exist. You cannot build it after that phone call. That's the difference between a plan you hope works and a plan that already knows what to do. So I want to leave you with this. None of this is about worst case thinking. It's really about honest planning. Blanche's paper is about what curve you land on. But the real question, the one nobody's asking, is which plan holds up when you become a one-person household? Your plan has to work for both scenarios because one of them is coming. If any of the 3 questions from the one-person test stopped you cold, and I'll bet most of you, they did, click that link below to schedule your complimentary retirement resilience assessment. We'll walk through the same strategies I walk clients through when they want a plan that survives whichever curve life hands them. The best time to build in resilience was before you needed it. The second best time is right now.